Alright everyone, this is Mycroft Aurelian here in the new 7 Days to Die experimental build Alpha 18. There are so many new things going on in this one, and today we're going to be looking at the new skill trees. So if we hit tab, we can go over here to see our skills, and this is quite a bit different than it has been in the past few. In the past few updates, the main attributes like your perception, strength, fortitude, agility, and all of that, the main tree skill has been limited to whatever your actual level is inside of the game. Now that is no longer the case. Now you can go ahead and buy these different skills with a point of experience that you get as you level up. Some of these costing obviously more levels of skill as you proceed up the tech tree. Another thing that's different is you'll notice up here that your weapons damage is now based on your skill tree for each particular skill tree. So for instance, here in perception, you can increase your headshot damage and dismembering chance with sniper rifles, explosives, and spears, and that can again go up as you go up your skill tree. And then differently here in strength, you're looking at headshot bonuses and dismembering chances with shotguns, clubs, and sledgehammers. So these will not affect every single weapon in the game as it did with previous updates, but you'll be looking again at just specific weapons for specific skills. Alright, so here in perception, we'll be looking at spears, sniper rifles, and explosive weapons. Your perception will increase your headshot and dismembering chance, starting at 200 headshot damage and 5% with dismembering. Again, dismembering is going to be, removing arms, legs, and things of that nature. It'll be all the way up to 300% headshot damage and 50% dismembering with the affected weapons. And then you'll have your Deadeye, which is going to increase your actual damage with the rifle. It'll also increase your ability to reload at a faster rate of speed, and it's going to unlock different rifles as you move through this particular skill tree. When we get to the end, you'll be able to increase higher quality rifles, so your quality is no longer restricted by your intelligence skill. It used to be as your intellect would increase, you would be able to increase your crafting quality for your weapons. Now that is broken up upon many different skills. Demolitions Expert is going to increase your explosive abilities. You'll be able to unlock pipe bomb crafting with your first level here, and you're also going to be increasing your damage, reload speed, aim, and you're increasing your chances of stuns and dismembers. So another thing that's important with this is, when you get to tier 5, you'll be able to unlock your timed charges and contact grenades which explode exactly as it sounds on contact, and timed charges. I've seen a lot of people trying to figure out what the timed charges are for. They're actually supposed to be used to destroy doors and unlock safes a lot quicker than using melee instruments, rather than causing some sort of damage to zombies, persons, or other items. Javelins, which is spears, which is a new item to Alpha 18. You'll be able to throw them further and cause more damage as you go through this particular skill tree, as well as increasing the quality of crafted items. Lockpicking is now back into the game. Instead of just having to break your way into everything, you can actually cause the door to open quietly using lockpicks. And as you go through this and increase the skill tree, you'll be able to pick locks faster and be able to save your lockpicks by not breaking them as quickly. Infiltrator causes you to have a slower time between an accidental stepping on the trap and its detonation or triggering. So this includes loose board traps, which is if you step on a loose board, the block you're on will actually collapse underneath you and you'll fall underneath. This is usually like a structure thing. So it gives you more time to get off that, and it also causes you to take less damage from mines. Whenever you get to the top skill here, you'll actually be able to pick up landmines as well, which would be really good if you're near the wasteland biome, because you can find all kinds of mines there for free to use to boost up your defenses. Animal Tracker will help you to detect and track animals. It'll take and let you use Sneak, and you can see the tracks of small animals. I don't know how you'd see the footsteps of snakes quite so easily, but I'm sure we'll get into that and see that as we start our first season in Alpha 18. And as you go up, you'll be able to see different types of animals like deer, boars, wolves, and coyotes, as well as mountain lions. The important thing to note here is that the mountain lions are actually quite formidable in Alpha 18. They're very fast, and I think these are going to be a lot more dangerous than the wolves that we've dealt with here in the past. They also have the ability of jumping. I don't know if they jump quite as much as your spider zombie, but it's definitely going to be something to consider when you're looking at defenses, and also especially important to consider when you're exploring and looting out and around the wilderness. We also have Penetrator, which another thing that's new to this particular update is we have the ability to shoot through some blocks as well as shooting through targets. So this particular skill will allow you to penetrate armor as well as eventually being able to shoot through additional targets when you're using rifles, particularly the hunting and marksman rifles. Being able to eventually shoot up to 3 different targets at the same time, as long as they're obviously standing in a straight line with these weapons. And then we also have our Lucky Looter, which is something that we're still used to in the Alpha 17 and before. But this adds loot bonuses so you can find better items inside of containers that you're opening. Looting is faster, and when you're doing those looting quests from the traders, it also narrows down the distance you have to search for, making those quests a little bit easier. And salvage operations, this one is actually really for wrenching. It helps you to do more damage to the blocks which you're wrenching, harvest faster, and get more resources, which is great because you don't have to worry about your stamina going down quite as fast. It also lets you craft wrenches at a higher quality, and you know, more resources, and who can argue with that? Alright, and here we also have our strength. Our strength attributes affect our ability to do damage with our shotguns, clubs, and sledgehammers. Again, the main tech tree of this takes and affects our ability to do damage with headshots and higher chances of dismembering with our weapons. Our first combat perk, we'll be looking at the boomstick, which is going to be our shotgun. We have a new weapon in the game, which is our double-barreled shotgun. It shoots one at a time. However, the notes suggest that if you are able to pull the trigger fast enough, you can actually empty both barrels without the barrel climbing too heavily. Shotguns here will be doing more damage, increased fire rate, and faster reload, as well as obviously the chance of dismembering. I mean, who does use a shotgun without seeing everything being literally blown apart? So, the ultimate skill here will also see leg shots always cripple opponents, which will be extremely important, I'm sure, when you're handling the Blood Moon Knight. Pummel Pete helps us to do damage when we're using power attacks, and that's extremely important because, you know, power attacks use a lot of energy, so your stamina is going to drain really fast, but it also does more damage, and more importantly, it allows you to knock your opponents over, which is something you really can't state enough as far as its usefulness when you're clearing out a building. You know, most of us will take and use melee weapons because they're typically quieter than using an actual firearm, so you don't have to worry about waking up every single zombie in a building. So having this at a higher level allows you to deal with smaller numbers of zombies potentially rather than waking up the entire house. The other thing that's really nice too is that if we get this all the way leveled up, we can cause successive hits to do extra damage, which is extremely important. And it always knocks foes down. Skull Crusher does more damage to heads whenever we hit them with our melee instruments. It also allows our sledgehammers to be crafted at a higher level of quality. Here we are with Sexual Tyrannosaurus, which takes and lets us to use less energy, less stamina when we're doing our regular strikes and power attacks. This also affects our tools as well. The other thing that's important about this too is when we get to level 3, killing blows grants 10 stamina. So when we're doing these power attacks, combine this with Pummel Pete and Skull Crusher, you're going to be able to use power attacks with extreme efficiency, cause extreme damage to the head, and then as we go up, we actually get more stamina for every kill. So this will let us to do many successive headshots when we have enemies stacked up in that line, and we'll get a lot of stamina to keep us going longer in the fight before you have to recover our stamina. Pack Mule allows us to increase our inventory slots without being encumbered. With the Alpha 17 updates, we have the our crafting menu, and we have all of our encumbering slots here. You can actually fill this with your inventory items, but as this gets full, you'll suffer a movement penalty, and that can be, really disadvantageous when we're talking about going into buildings and searching for things, or if you've got a long way back home. So this will decrease these slots. You don't see this little man carrying a box here, and you'll be able to move faster when you're carrying additional objects. Here we also have Master Chef. Master Chef is an extremely important thing. Food is a strong aspect of this game. If you do not have food, you will die, and that makes the game a lot more difficult. So you can actually unlock different recipes, like the old bacon and eggs, boiled meat. There's literally all kinds of things. Fish tacos even, sham chowder. So all those ingredients, can be put to good use as long as you have these recipes unlocked. And you'll be able to do that by, again, unlocking Master Chef and going through all these different things. Some of these recipes can be cooked faster by upgrading this, and you'll also unlock better recipes. Me personally, I'll probably only go for this level 1 Bachelor here, because most of the foods I generally use the most are sitting right here. So keep that in mind as you're looking through all your recipes. We also have our construction perks like Miner 69er. This will have our tools increase in quality, which this thing is probably going to be one that most people look into. Gathering resources is obviously a main part of this kind of game, so any survival game, resources are paramount. So this will help you to gain more resources, better quality tools, and having better quality tools means you're going to be out there longer, repairing your tools less, and getting more resources. So obviously it's important for you to be able to specialize in. Mutter Load will take and give you more resources as you strike your objects. So more resources equals less resources wasted, and more resources gained, saving time and equipment. Moving on to Fortitude. Increasing the Fortitude skill will actually not increase any particular weapon damage, so keep that in mind. Never mind. It actually increases headshot damage with your fists, assault rifles, and machine guns. So here we will be able to do our damage for our fast-firing weapons and apparently our fists. And what's more satisfying than punching a zombie in the head and watching its head explode? So keep that in mind if you're looking to get in some more interesting fist combat. Brawler lets you use martial arts where your fists do more damage than normal. This is pretty much a new skill tree. Hand-to-hand fighting has been kind of something you've always avoided in 7 Days to Die previously, but now we have different weapons we can use in hand-to-hand combat, which makes hand-to-hand combat a lot more effective. So you'll be able to do more damage, you'll be able to stagger your opponents, and eventually you're going to be able to cause people's heads to explode. And just like with other things, increasing the skill here will increase the quality of your knuckle weapons. Machine Gunner. So this will help you to unlock the AK-47, which would be nice to be able to unlock that right off the bat. And you can also do more damage, increase that fire rate, and the faster reload. And as you go through here, you'll notice that you can actually start increasing your damage with your shots. And you can also increase your stamina gain as you're shooting. So this will help you to aim longer, and also when you're done shooting that huge spread of zombies and during your horde night, you can actually still be able to run away after you shoot, 2 mags at an entire line of zombies. And then that stamina increase will only increase as you increase the level of this skill. Heavy armor is an important thing, but it also slows you down significantly and increases your penalty to your stamina regeneration. Increasing this particular skill will decrease your movement penalties, as well as increasing your durability and decreasing the stamina penalty for wearing it. The Huntsman will help you to harvest more resources using blades from any kind of living animal. It's also important to note that the zombie animals like the zombie dog and zombie bear, you'll be able to get more resources off them, but you're not eating any of that zombie meat until you get the I think it's the hobo stew unlocked. So increasing this will give you more resources. Well insulated helps you to survive in the hot and the cold. So if you're looking to take and survive out in the desert or snow biomes, and you're having trouble with finding equipment for keeping you properly insulated, this will be a skill tree for you to investigate. Living off the land is an important thing if you're looking to get into farming, which farming is a very important mechanic to take advantage of as you get into the later game. So being able to use this will help you to craft seeds for very important flowers like your goldenrod and chrysanthemum. These will help you craft teas to help you against foodborne illness, the all common favorite, having your food poisoning as well as your dysentery, as well as aloe and yucca, which helps you to create yucca juice, keeps you hydrated in those desert environments, and aloe for first aid kits. And then when we increase the skill of this, we'll be able to harvest more plants and eventually get into mutated seeds if you're into mutated corn. Pain tolerance is important if you plan on being a melee operator. This will reduce your ability to lose damage, and it will also increase your ability to resist being stunned, which, getting hit and getting stunned really makes it difficult. You can get surrounded by zombies much faster, and once you're completely surrounded, it can be really tough to get out. Healing factor will take and allow you to heal faster when you use natural healing, which is eating. So, you eat food, you gain health, and this will help you to gain health quicker. So, extremely, extremely important. As you max this out, you'll be able to gain health really, really quickly. And not only that, you can actually regenerate your maximum health, which can be damaged whenever you take damage. And instead of having to bandage your maximum health back, you can actually just heal it by eating food as well. In this particular update, they made it much more of a consideration when you're looking at your food and liquid intake. Foods actually cause your food poisoning chance to really just it's just a lot more of a consideration you have to make than previous updates. In Alpha 17, unless you're eating like old canned food out from the wasteland, you really didn't have to worry about food poisoning so much. As long as you start getting your bacon and eggs, you start cooking and everything. But now it's pretty much something you have to always consider unless you're eating from canned food. So keep that in mind. And then the higher this goes, your consumable buffs will increase if you're into different kinds of steroid kind of effect, temporary boosting drugs and food. And it also will take and reduce your risk from food poisoning and dysentery. Another thing that's important is that you'll reduce your chance of having to use food quite as quickly, because your food and water loss is reduced, so you don't have to worry about bringing quite as much food with you while you're out and about. Rule 1, cardio will help you to run away faster, which is extremely important. This will increase your stamina regen when you're sprinting, so when you're trying to escape from those huge packs of zombies or just running across the map because you forgot your bicycle or whatever vehicle you have, that stamina regen will be increased so you can run farther. Looking at agility, we have our ability to do dismembering and headshot damage with bows, handguns, and knives. All those weapons that would be quickly used. Our first skill here is Bowman, which increases our ability to damage, aim, and draw and reload bows. Going all the way down here, we're going to unlock different bows. Like here we have the wooden bow, And then as we go through here, we'll actually be able to use great quality bows. Again, increasing the damage, increasing the ability to shoot more arrows, important things. Gunslinger will be able to shoot our pistols at a faster fire rate, increase our damage, and increase our reloading speed. All things that are extremely important. The other thing that's different for this particular one is you can actually do kind of a chain shot sort of a thing where you make successive hits, and for a short time you'll cause critical damage on all your shots. And then you'll also be able to decrease the amount of hits that you have to do to cause the critical hit ring, and also the last shot of the critical hit ring will actually cause 100% extra damage. Deep cuts allows you to cause bleeding wounds, and the important thing to consider this too is these wounds actually stack. We can actually cause multiple bleeding wounds, and a power attack will cause multiple bleeding wounds on a single target. You see how as our bleeding wounds goes up higher, you get the same amount of bleeding wounds to power attack bleeding wounds inflicted as you raise this up, and also increasing your quality of your knife weapon. Run and gun increase your hip fire accuracy and movement penalty when you're reloading. It's important to decrease this down as you're running around. You're trying to move through a building, you try to shoot all your zombies, then you reload, and now you're moving extremely slow, and now you're surrounded. This is the particular skill you want to use to negate that particular situation before you have to use your melee equipment. Again, increasing this to the maximum, you'll have no movement penalty when reloading, and you'll have a higher accuracy when you're shooting from the hips. Flurry of blows increases the speed of your melee attacks, so this would be your hand-to-hand combat as well as any melee weapon. Something to keep in mind if you want to go for a light weapon, you can really stack up those hits. This combined with deep cuts can cause some really serious situations when you got your machete going on, causing massive amounts of damage with multiple bleeding wounds to multiple enemies. Parkour increases your ability to jump as well as fall, and also reduces your jumping stamina cost for jumping. So you'll be able to increase your ability to jump higher when you get to perk level 3, and you also increase your fall distance, and you don't have to worry about getting sprained and broken legs if you max this particular skill out. Hidden Strike will help you to do extra damage with your melee instruments whenever you're causing sneak attack at melee range. So this would be a really cool kind of a thing. You got Hidden Strike, Flurry of Blows, Deep Cuts. These 3 particular skills can be put together with your melee operator of blades, and you can cause pretty maddening damage as long as you're able to effectively not be spotted. From the Shadows will help you to not be spotted quite so easily. You'll be able to hide, and you'll be able to move quicker. So keep that in mind if you want to take and make that sneaky stabby assassin. Intellect will increase your damage with junk turrets and stun batons. Both are completely new features in this particular game. So again, increasing your headshot damage and dismembering chance with these particular weapons. Electrocutioner takes and increases your effectiveness with the new stun baton, causing more damage and causing them to be stunned for a longer period of time. Stunning your opponent for longer periods of time is really, really important if you don't want to have to face every single one of your enemies at the same time. You can put them inside of that stun state and then focus on other targets. Turret Syndromes helps you to use those junk turrets more effectively, increasing their range, increasing their damage, increasing their fire rate, and increasing their range. Just making turrets all around better. This particular skill is one of the few skills that's actually locked by intellect. So keep that in mind, that your intellect level has to go up for you to use Turret Syndrome. Better Barter helps you to negotiate with all of your merchants, so you don't have to pay for higher prices. Dukes are sometimes a difficult thing to get early on in the game, so you always want to make sure that you're using them effectively. When you get to skill level 3, you'll be able to access the secret stash, giving you a completely new, different page of loot that's available from the trader. A lot of this gear will be a lot more effective than the gear that's normally shown. And as you keep going up, their secret stash quality will only increase. The Daring Adventurer helps you to get additional choices if you're one of those people who enjoy doing quests, which are again assigned from your traders, giving you additional quests and eventually being able to choose additional rewards. Charismatic nature is useful when you're using multiplayer in this particular game. I know from Alpha 17 a lot of these skills didn't really work quite what they were expecting to or at all. I'm not sure if they've resolved this for Alpha 18 or not, but it'll help your allies to have additional perks and damage, so you will be more effective as a team when you stay together. Physician is another skill that's actually locked by your intellect level, which, makes sense. I wouldn't expect somebody to be a professional surgeon who barely knows how to open a door. So having these different skills here will increase your health regeneration, increases your healing over time, and also gets you more experience for using bandages and increases the amount of different healing options you have available to you, like your bandages, first aid kits, and splints. Craftsmanship, we have advanced engineering, which will be what locks your forge and anvil. Getting this particular one is pretty much one of the most essential skills in the entire game. Having access to forged iron and other metallic, resources really just kind of sets you apart from your ability to have better quality walls and equipment and tools. A lot of tools require forged metal when you're looking at, iron tools. So this is a very important skill. You'll be able to create your workbenches, your saw cement mixers, and all blade traps, electrical traps, your so electric fences. All these, you absolutely have to go up in this particular one. Level 4 will give you your power tools, chainsaws, augers, nail guns. Nail guns are really helpful if you're looking to upgrade your base quickly. You can use the hand axe, but that just takes a while. And it also causes more XP to be gained from electrical trap kills. So that looks to be actually really awesome. In the previous update, if you're using traps to kill your enemies, you actually would not receive any experience whatsoever. Quite a few people complained about this, that you'd spend all this time to build all these defenses. You took and have a maze, you had platforms, all these different methods of causing zombies to wander through all of your traps, but you would never ever really get any advantage from that. You'd have to throw Molotov cocktails and do some sort of continuous damage to them in order to actually get the experience points from them, which causes damage to everything. It causes damage to your blocks and everything. So you'd have to repair all these things from not only the zombies but also your own damage to them. Grease Monkey gives you all of your bicycle parts, your motorcycle parts, all of those different parts that help you to get around quickly. And increasing the size of your vehicle increases the size of your portable storage, sometimes speed and efficiency. Gyrocopter lets you fly, so an important skill for getting around the map quickly. Science will help you to create your medical items as well as your fuel and explosives and drugs. Gives you access to craft chemistry stations. You'll be able to craft these items a lot faster. Notice that you actually have to get this Science up here to level 2 to be able to have access to your first aid bandages and your cooking pot. So you're going to have to be scavenging a lot harder in the beginning of the game because your intellect level has to be all the way to level 5, and then you'll have to unlock this once and twice to be able to get your first cooking pot. So keep that in mind. You'll also be able to get your military fiber a lot quicker than having to increase your, I think it was intellect had to be all the way to level 10 in the previous update to be able to get access to military fiber, so that kind of helps some. And then you also need to get this really high to get your battery banks, batteries, air filter mines, and then all the way up here to level 5 to be able to get your stems like your fort bites and recog. And finally, we're looking at all of the perk books. This here I'm going to do in a separate video because there are so many different perk books. Each one have additional perks that it brings into the equation, And I think this really just needs a whole nother video to go through this and give them justice, because I mean, you're just looking at all kinds of different aspects to change the entire way the game goes. So I hope this has been useful for you, looking at all the different skills, kind of a more in-depth thing. I know this is a little bit of a longer video, kind of not quite exhaustively looking at these. We're not looking at all the combinations you can make, but again, just kind of looking into each of these skills and considering, you know, how these can best suit you as you're surviving in the wastelands. Alrighty, everybody, if you found this guide useful, just go ahead and please give it a like. And if there's any combinations of skills that you think are going to be important here in the new 7 Days to Die Alpha 18, go ahead and comment that below. You know, let us know if you're into those sneaky stabby builds or some long-range archery. Let us know, and we'll take and get you the next video.